folks, welcome back to another video where I get to help you take your power back while using tarot. So today's video is about healing after betrayal. So many of my clients have dealt with relationship betrayals. I've personally have been dealing with that as well. And you can watch this video anytime that you are going through this process. But this video is actually inspired by the new moon in Libra that is coming up. If you're watching this video as soon as it comes out, it's going to come up on Tuesday, so tomorrow, October 21st. But again, this video, this reading can be for you anytime we're dealing and having to heal through betrayal. So let's start. So the first thing here, this card, is the shock. So what moment or truth broke your sense of security, safety, of connection? This is the core wound, an event that has disrupted this trust. Okay, so this card, I'm gonna have to, because this is my artist deck, so it's like 78 different cards here. But this one is interesting. I'll have to come over here. So this is what it looks like. Lady, she's holding an apple, she's looking at a kid. Kind of makes me, in a way, even though like the age difference is there, makes me think of like Adam and Eve, the apple, and going against what the agreement is. You know, God said, don't eat the apple, and here Eve did, and then eventually Adam did, and going against God's word. And so the moment of truth that broke that sense of connection and trust is when, just simply the act of going against the agreement and saying, I did something that was obviously not what the relationship was built upon. And so now we, with Six of Pentacles, have to deal with that repercussion. Part of me wants to pull another card to kind of go deeper because I don't really connect with this card as much as I would like. I'm going to put my other cards here. Just a little clarification there. Okay, so we got Five of Pentacles here. So just kind of like, just kind of put out in the cold, you know? It's like you thought you were safe and then you were pushed out because of someone going back on their word, going against the agreement. And it ends up putting you out in the cold here. So that's painful. That's the shock. So the heartbreak. What emotion are you still carrying from this experience? So this is, this could be from the past. So what pain, what emotion? So disempowered, the Magician in reverse. You're carrying this sense of disempowerment, feeling like you can't do things on your own, with your own intention, your willpower, because of that betrayal. That person. So like if y'all made an agreement with your words, right? to behave in this way in the relationship, and then they do the exact opposite. It feels like the betrayal, the heartbreak. It's like it kind of like triggers like, can I even trust my own word? Because like I first perceived this person and felt like they could do this with me, and then they shown me that they cannot. And now it feels disempowering. It feels um, like you have to question your own power, your own intention. So it's heartbreaking. You got to really question your own intention of the relationship, and what will you say? What will you do after this? So the story, wow, it jumped out. What narrative have you been telling yourself about this betrayal? So Page of Wands. I was here like, okay, we've been telling herself, well, it looks like I gotta do things on my own. I can't really depend on this person. And yeah, with the Page of Wands, this is like the inspiration. This is like the person being by themselves and waiting for inspiration to come. And so, yeah, it just kind of seems like the story that we're telling ourselves because of this betrayal is that we have to do things on our own. We have to be alone. And it's just you and this thing, you and this stick, whatever that's helping you move along on your path. And yeah, it's painful because like relationships, you need to be relating to someone else, not just by yourself. And so, yeah, this is the story, this is the internal dialogue that we're putting on ourselves, having to do things on our own. So let's see, what's the next card? So this is the Mirror. What does this experience reflect about your patterns in love and connection? We have Nine of Wands in reverse, that love is painful, connection is painful. You kind of have to hold on with your whole might to make it work, even though it hurts. And I'm seeing like the story is clashing with the Mirror. So this is kind of like the expectation we have about patterns in relationships, patterns in love and connection, is that it's painful. And there is this temptation of giving it up because it's so painful. So the shadow part. What part of you feels unseen, unaccepted, unworthy, unlovable here? So, like, you can't speak up for yourself, that you can't share what it is that you are perceiving, what you're sensing, what you're feeling it is your truth. This is the shadow. This is the shadow that you can't speak. You feel like you can't speak up for yourself. And this is also where we can have a little bit more compassion for ourselves. When you shed a light on this, that we can, there is this, you do have the ability to share what it is that you are feeling. Like, hey, you've gone against this, our agreement. And now I feel out in the cold. I feel alone. I feel like I got to do things on my own, and that if I don't, I have to stay here, and love is painful and things don't get resolved. This also, with the Page of Swords being in reverse, this could be more easier to harness this energy by journaling, just expressing what you feel, that is unworthy to be heard, or just like, yeah, like it makes you like what needs to be heard, but you just feel like you can't, you're not, something in you tells you you shouldn't. You shouldn't say that out loud. I know for me, whenever that happens, when I like need to express myself and I feel this um like I can't, usually what's happening there is because I feel ashamed of what I feel. I feel like I'm not going to be heard, like things aren't going to change, that it's going to create very uncomfortable, make the other person uncomfortable. But, you feel uncomfortable, and relationships are meant to be a space where we can connect on our truth, And so it is really a disservice when we don't express what is going on. And again, it will be if it's easier for you to do that through journaling first, do that through journaling and then let them know. But this is the shadow. The Page of Swords in reverse is that you can't say what's really on your mind because you don't know where it's going to go. And so the truth here, what's the reality must you accept to move forward, is Two of Swords in reverse. You got to make a decision. How are you going to do things differently and really integrate with what you're feeling and what you've experienced? And yeah, you have to like give that time for all the information to come together. Like, this happened to me, this was the agreement, this is how I feel about it. What's next? That takes time to come together with, but this is the truth. This is what to accept to help you move forward. It's accepting that we have to make a decision. And in that decision, be stay quiet and don't do anything about it. Well, that is a decision. You're just deciding to not do anything with it is a decision. Deciding to do something about it, to say something, to speak up for yourself is a decision. So the truth is, this is, where and how we can restore our power, is accepting that there is a decision that needs to be made, and we need to include all of the information that we have, um, our expectations of our relationship, getting the feedback of how they handle that, what their expectations are, how they see value and worth in you, and how you see value and worth in yourself, your desires for what the relationship should be. That also needs to be, all of that needs to be considered in the decision that we're making. Okay, so this is the release. Yeah. So what are we calling you called to let go of now? Queen of Swords, trying to stay in control of what's so if you do speak up, trying to stay in control of that, with how things play out. Queen of Swords, that's what we need to release. We just need to simply speak up for ourselves, and like what happened, the betrayal doesn't sit right with us, and then feel like, hey, I don't have to control how that other person receives this message or receives what I feel and think. I don't need to control this. Because the Queen of Swords, she has a plan. She's open to suggestions and how to move forward, but at the end of the day, she has her own plan in mind, and is wanting to move forward with it with clarity. And this is not a very clear situation. You can't control how the other person responds to your perception of what was betrayal to you. What is actually a betrayal? Here's the boundaries. What will protect your heart so that you can heal? So we need time for separation, right? Oh, the lovers. So remembering love, right? This is a very entangling thing too. So all the snakes there. Oh, like juniper. But yeah, so the boundary here is like what will protect your heart is remembering that love exists. Love is always around. Love is always there. Love is you are not disconnected from love, even if you're not receiving it from this person. Even if you decide to move on, love is always there. But you got to listen to the lover within first to be able to receive the lover without. You got to receive the lover within and listen to the lover within in order to have that reflected back to you through another person to be able to experience that. Yeah. So the restoration, how can you rebuild yourself, rebuild your trust in yourself? Because yeah, when we're going through a betrayal, it essentially we have betrayed ourselves first. And I know that's kind of sounds harsh, but we always get the signs that this person is not honest. This person is not has the same values as you do. That this person is not consistent. This person, whatever, is distracted. Um, we always have the signs beforehand. We end up gaslighting ourselves and thinking, oh, that's not it, oh, it's nothing. But we get the signs, we got it, in the beginning. So that betrayal first happens with us, within ourselves. And so the card that came out, frustration, how you can rebuild trust in yourself is 7 of Wands in reverse, not giving up on yourself. If you feel like if you notice something that happens, don't give up on that. Pay attention. Listen in. Listen in. Because something is running up against your boundaries. It can be emotional boundaries, spiritual boundaries, mental boundaries. If you feel like something's off, something's probably off, right? We got to focus in. We got to pay attention. Don't give up on yourself. Don't lose yourself in just trying to maintain a relationship. Losing yourself in codependency. Because if we do that, then that makes it so much easier to stop trusting yourself and then attracting people that are not trustworthy. So the forgiveness, what can you forgive about, with yourself and others too, to reclaim peace? The sun in reverse. So forgiving yourself, because I'm thinking about like the inner child and like what we learned and what was modeled to us as children, modeled of like what was acceptable. Really, it was dysfunctional. Just realizing like, hey, I'm on a journey and I am reconnecting to my truth and I'm having to decondition from all that has been modeled to me, the dysfunction, especially in relationships, has what have that that are modeled to me, releasing that, letting that go. That you're on a journey to seeing and understanding who you are and your truth, and that being like the inner child. And that's setting you free. And just remembering, you're on a journey. You're not going to get it right. You are going to attract people that doesn't understand your value, your worth, and you're learning to discern when and how to let them go or help them see like yeah, that you're valuable. If they don't see it right off the gate, then it's like, what's the point of this connection? But yeah, I think forgiveness, remembering like, hey, we are relearning, we're deconditioning ourselves and how we were raised. We're detaching from the dysfunction of how we were raised, that how relationships should look like. Okay, so this is the rebirth. What new energy or belief is ready to rise within you? Sorry. Okay, so I got the moon here. So this is an invitation of really get to understand your psyche, really get to understand your fears and anxieties and how those really shapes your perceptions in life and therefore limit your um, ability to decide on what to do. So this is an invitation, a rebirth of understanding your psyche and also learning to lean more into your intuition, to listening to what you're feeling and questioning it more, not just leaving it on the side. Questioning your fears and your anxieties. So if like you were with this person because of fear of or because of this belief of like love is painful, questioning that conditioning more is the moon is asking for you to do so that you can have a rebirth. Why do we believe love is so painful? Why do we believe love has to be painful? Who modeled that to us? Who had set that example in our life? And that kind of gives some breathing space to kind of see like, oh, I'm not them. That was just modeled to me. And I can decide how I really want to show up in relationships, how I really want other people to show up in my life, and what is acceptable and what is not. Reconnecting with yourself and not betraying yourself first, right? Because when we abandon ourselves, suppress what we're feeling, suppress what we know, it just makes it easier for us to keep folks that are not meant to be for us longer than they should be. And leaving room for betrayal, more betrayals, bigger, louder betrayals. So this is the opening. So the moon was the rebirth. So understanding the psyche, understanding why you think you do, what you're afraid of, what has been planted in you in that way, what is reflecting back in your life because of the mindset you have. And so the opening here is what kind of love, connection, harmony awaits you next. 10 of Wands in reverse. That love doesn't have to be burdensome. That everyone can do their own work on themselves and carry their own load, carry their own burden. Like with love, we're we're helping each other out. But if it's like all on you, that's just not it. And to tie it back to the first card here, where there's been the person or even you has gone back on your word and agreeing to take on more than you ought to. It just puts you in this very, really tough spot here. It's kind of a clarification card. Five of Pentacles. It puts you in this like victim mentality. It makes it hard for you. But love that awaits for you is that you don't have to carry everything. You don't have to be overly concerned, like, hey, are they going to keep their word? How do I make them keep their word? Like, that's not your responsibility. But do let people show themselves so that you know what you're working with. And then listen to yourself. Listen to what you're feeling. Don't ignore it. Go deeper. Question it more. And get the answer. Get the answer. Make a decision. A decision that's right for you, that honors you, and honors the vision that you have for your relationships. All right. So that is your reading to help you heal from betrayal. I hope that this reading has been helpful. And yeah, I will see you on the next video. Bye.